I moved out of my parents' house when I was 19 years old, and to support myself over the next few years, I worked a few different jobs. And I remember at each of those jobs constantly staring at the clock and counting down the hours and minutes until I was able to leave. What I looked forward to, though, was when I left work, I would go teach and train at a few different martial arts schools that my friends owned. And there, instead of watching the clock waiting for time to pass, I would actually lose track of time. It wasn't unusual for my buddy to ask me to hit the lights and lock up when I was done training. Back in the 70s and 80s, most martial arts schools were run by people who had full-time jobs and then would open up their school just for a few hours after work, basically like a part-time gig. My dream was to open up a full-time martial arts school and make it my full-time career. And when I was 22, which was 40 years ago, that's exactly what I did. I opened up my first full-time martial arts school. And that was despite everyone around me telling me it was going to be impossible for me to earn enough to support myself, never mind like a family in the future. My dad was probably the only one who supported me in my decision at the time. See, the way I looked at it was there were 24 hours in a day, and if you sleep for 8 hours, you have only 16 left. And those 16 hours are usually split between your job and everything else you want and need to do. Think about it. If you don't love what you do or you don't like what you do, you can be miserable for half of the time that you're awake. And that's when I made the decision that I was going to do what I love to do, understanding that I was going to struggle financially. You could basically say that I chose to chase my dreams rather than chase money. And thinking back, that was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life, because I can honestly say that I love what I do so much that I feel as though I haven't worked a day in the past 40 years. My advice to every young person that's getting started, and anybody who despises their job, is to find what you love to do. Get great at it and make that your profession. Because as the saying goes, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.